Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will discuss a recent statement by the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who said that British and French troops are already in Ukraine launching missiles against Russian positions. At the end of February, during a conversation with journalists, the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz tried once again to justify his decision not to send long-range Taurus missiles to Ukraine. The Taurus is a cruise missile with a range of over 500 kilometers and is therefore perfectly capable of reaching Moscow even if launched from within Ukrainian territory. Chancellor Scholz explained to the journalists that precisely for this reason, he does not feel comfortable sending the Taurus to Ukraine. However, Scholz added an extra point, saying that if he authorizes the sending of the Taurus, he will also have to send German troops to operate it, just as the United Kingdom and France are doing at this very moment, as stated by Olaf Scholz. In other words, unintentionally, the German Chancellor confirmed what the British and French have been denying for months, that troops from these countries are acting within Ukraine in direct support of Ukrainian forces for the acquisition of Russian targets and the operation of long-range missiles such as the Storm Shadow and its French version, the Scalp. This shows that the British and French are actively and directly launching or directly contributing to the launch of missiles that are destroying structures and vehicles, and, more importantly, injuring and killing Russian soldiers. The Storm Shadow, known in France as the Scalp, has a similar range to the Taurus, about 500 kilometers. Like the German missile, it is also air-launched. Although these missiles could easily be installed on Soviet aircraft, such as those operated by Ukraine, the most critical stage, which is their programming and the introduction of data such as the route to follow and the target to be hit, must be done by British and French military personnel, as it seems to require very advanced special equipment whose possession has not been transferred to the Ukrainians. In addition to the programming itself, the German Chancellor also referred in the interview to the so-called target control. This is a very broad term, but it usually involves the analysis and selection of potential targets. In other words, according to the German Chancellor, the United Kingdom and France would be analyzing satellite data and images and determining, through this analysis, which positions and structures could cause the most damage and casualties among the Russians if they were hit by their missiles. This shows that the United Kingdom and France are not only providing the missiles that Ukraine uses to hit Russian targets. The United Kingdom and France are choosing or at least participating in the process of choosing Russian targets. Basically, the British and French prepare the ammunition, choose the target, and adjust the aim, with the Ukrainians merely pulling the trigger. It is important to make it clear that all of this is just an inference, a deduction drawn from the vague statements of Chancellor Olaf Scholz. But if this is indeed the case, it serves to refute the statements made so far by the United Kingdom and France, which insist on affirming that the entire process of target acquisition and missile preparation is entirely in Ukrainian hands. It was precisely because of this that London reacted with indignation to the German statements, with a spokesperson for the British Ministry of Defence releasing a note to refute Chancellor Scholz's statements, with London saying that, contrary to what was insinuated, British missiles are operated, adjusted, and launched exclusively by Ukrainians. But the British ministry neither confirmed nor denied the presence of British military personnel in Ukraine. The French, on the other hand, reacted much more mildly, perhaps because Emmanuel Macron recently said that the sending of alliance troops to Ukraine is a measure that cannot be ruled out in the future. If Scholz's insinuations are indeed true, European participation in Ukraine's defensive effort is much greater than previously thought, possibly indicating that Europeans are not only providing weapons and ammunition, but also operating some of these weapons, at least to some extent. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now to support us, and leave your like. Until next time.